Welcome, everybody, to the Raad Life, the only talk radio show that takes you along with host and age explorer Rod Gantos on his continuing journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older. The Rad Life is brought to you this week by Your Home for a Lifetime, a company dedicated to empowering you to stay safely, independently, and comfortably in your own home. And now here is your host, Rad Gantos.
Good afternoon, Paul.
Good afternoon. You have such a distinguished guest. I figured I wouldn't even jump in here. I don't know if I'm worthy to be in the same room with
You're going
these
to be a
people
loss
here
for
today.
words for a change. That's going to be interesting. Okay, so if anybody is thinking of tuning in, definitely tune in because it very rarely is Paul a loss for words, and we might have that kind of a unique experience today.
Well, today you have a real CNN hero, and I'm moved by those kinds of stories here. So,
well, you know, the interesting thing is, in Orange County, we were just talking about like history of Orange County and stuff like that. I think we probably both came to the United States roughly around the same time. You know, we kind of probably crossed paths. We were trying to figure out if we actually ran into each other back in the 80s or not, you know, a little further north in Orange County. But it's very interesting. There's a lot of people that are giving and doing, and we've had the fortune of having a bunch of them on this show, that kind of go uncelebrated. That we don't, you know, they're not
never
really
hear
they're
about
not
them.
really doing it for the recognition,
right.
And it's really nice when those people get some, you know, kind of exposure. In the case of my guest, I would say that he has gotten exposure for what he does,
A little bit, yeah.
but very deservingly. And I think it all comes from the right place, which is really what it's really a pleasure to have you here, Bruno. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for inviting me. It's always cool to be on.
So introduce
talk
him.
to people like you guys.
We all know Bruno. I mean, the name says it all, Chef Bruno. But give us a little
that's
introduction.
one title, right?
Buongiorno.
So, what do you like to be called, Bruno? Because I mean, do I say Sir Bruno? What do I call
Chef
you?
Bruno.
When people call me Sir, because, you know, as you know, I get knighted by the president in Italy. I say, you know, it's a little bit too much. I say, maybe you can bow, but you don't have to call me.
a little nod, maybe. But
So when we finish the show, I'll make sure to curtsy and bow. But no,
Yeah.
I mean that's it. How exciting! When was that, Bruno?
That was probably 4 years ago, and I was, as you know, I'm Italian. I mean, when the
is
Italian...
that? I've been trying to put the accent. Italian.
Well, no,
that's
I
it. Okay.
also have a French accent. I'm confusing people. I like to confuse people because mom and dad went to France in 1950 after World War II, and that's the reason I lived there for 10 years. And I went to school in France. I speak French.
You do
fluently.
actually have kind of you kind of go in and out of both of them when I listen
Oui,
carefully.
merci
yeah.
beaucoup.
Yeah.
Bonjour. On peut parler français. You can speak any language you want. But going back to the night that the Italian consul called me one night 4 years ago. He says, Signor Bruno, I have something special to tell you. I say, yes, what? Say, we're going to do a celebration next month. You got being knighted by the President of Italy. And the first thing I ask him, which will make him laugh, I say, I get knighted. Do I get a horse because I get knighted? Because you're a knight as a horse
Yeah.
and a sword.
And a sword.
Right?
You got to get a sword.
I said, I can get my own sword. I say I can get my own outfit, but maybe I government will
Who's
give me a
going to
horse.
give me the horse?
He say, no, Bruno, just a medal. I say, okay, but no, keep the joke in a way. It was funny because this is one of the biggest award, not an award, but bigger title you can get in Italy, because remember, we used to be a monarchy
Sure.
Yeah, that's
before
right.
1945.
King Emmanuel, right?
Yeah, Emanuele is from Savoy, and the House of
The House of Savoy, yeah, right.
And I mean, to be
I know my
knighted,
history. I know my history.
I know,
here.
I'll give you some tests, but you do pretty good so far. But it's been cool to be knighted because it's a really higher title for an Italian citizen.
Yeah.
You know, thanks President Napolitano. Then.
So what was it just recognizing what you have been doing? Did somebody recommend it?
Yes, it was recommended probably from the Italian Council of Los Angeles because he knew what I was doing in South California, and I've been, as you mentioned, CNN,
Yeah.
Hero, I've been on ABC, NBC, People Magazine, all over the world
Right.
for what they do as my project. I mean, when he find that out, he did a request at the Italian government in Rome, and I was immediately accepted because even in Italy, I was getting recognized on TV show for what I'm doing with my own charity, basically.
And let's talk about what it is. So let's start with the fact that you had the White House here in Anaheim for how many years?
That I bought a White House in 1987 with was my business partner Dan, which now I own by myself, but he used to be my boss at the former restaurant I used to work at La Vie Rose. We got the White House in 87 together. And it's been a long time, 30 years. So this year is my 30 years anniversary.
So what happy anniversary. And we'll talk about that because it's interesting that on your anniversary you're going through something with when it comes to that, right?
Yeah.
What made you? I'm curious. What made you look at Anaheim?
But the reason, when I was working at La Vie Rose, I got selected Metro D of the Year in 1985. In my previous boss came in 1984. I was really working there for 4 years.
And where's La Vie en Rose? Is that in
It was
Brea?
in, it was in Brea, which
Brea,
does
right.
not exist anymore, but
Right.
it was there then.
Famous restaurant for a long time, I know, was up
Probably
there
the
for-
best French restaurant, which used to be owned by the Segerstrom. The building used to be owned by the
Oh,
Segerstrom
I didn't know.
family.
Okay. Yeah, it was right
I
off
mean,
the
a
freeway.
great
there.
restaurant. I love it. It was my favorite restaurant in the world, I'll be honest. But in 87, this guy who used to work at the White House was a friend of mine, Maître D. He invited me there a couple of times for dinner. I went there for dinner, and one time he called me up, said, Bruno, the restaurant is for sale. The restaurant is for sale. I said, I don't have much money. I said, I don't have money. I said, to buy a restaurant.
This is the White House.
the White House.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes I think the real White House is for sale too, but that's a whole nother political discussion here. Right?
Yeah, maybe we should avoid that one.
Thank you, Bruno. Yes.
At that point, I was able, with my business partner, to go there, talk to the owner of the White House, and we were capable to jump in as a leasing with option to buy. And this was starting in 1987.
And how long had they been there? Because it seems like it had been there forever.
1981 is when the previous owner, Jim Stovall, which I love him, I love his wife, the one who sold it to me. They were there from 1981. Previous that, there was a house built in 1909, which is an historical landmark.
Yeah, it was a White House. Yeah.
Yeah, gorgeous building. I mean, that's why I fell in love with the White House when I saw it. Basically, that's where I start with.
Is that the
White
same
House.
guy that owned Mr. Stocks, or am I confusing?
No, you're confusing with Mr. Marshall, which is another friend of mine who sold that
yes.
restaurant too.
Right, because I know it was another husband and wife team.
No,
that
the
owned it.
Anaheim White House is very close to the City Hall on
Right.
Anaheim Boulevard,
Yeah.
1 block north of Ball Road. And you can't miss this huge white mansion. And after that, you hear the new things about that, but
Well-
it's a really gorgeous place.
Well, and a lot of people don't maybe realize that Anaheim actually is a very old town, and there was a German colony that's down the street. And
And do you
there's a
know
lot
why
of
it's
history.
called Anaheim?
It's a house of beer, maybe, or something
No,
like that.
Anna's river. Heim is a river, I think, in German.
I think one has been home.
Or
Home,
Anna's
the
home,
river
maybe.
home or something.
Something. It was Anna's home, or Anna's. It was near a little river there.
You know what? I saw some picture of Anaheim Boulevard.
I'll look it up again here.
What used to look like.
Oh yeah,
Oh my gosh! I think it was the most gorgeous
yeah.
city
Yeah.
in Orange County because it used to be stunning building over there. I love the building.
Well, and the interesting thing about Anaheim is there are some neighborhoods that are still there, in that near that area that you were talking about.
Nice. The Colony District.
The
is
Colony District.
stunning.
Yeah, and there are there was a lot of industry in Anaheim. There was a lot of, like, we talked about just briefly upstairs, the packing house, for example. There was the orange industry. There was things like that, and it's really nice to see Anaheim actually getting revitalized in this way in the last 5 or 10 years, that it's becoming more and more of a draw.
I believe that the last 3-4 years it has been the booming city in
Agree.
Orange County. Every corner turn is apartment, restaurant.
Yep.
Before, like talk about Mr. Stocks, I was the only restaurant in Anaheim with a Mr. Stocks beside few little place. But I think now is more than 40, 50.
Yeah.
Because we downtown Disney, Garden Walk. I mean, so many restaurants. In fact, I mean, I was alone with the Marshall, the talks before. Business was booming strongly. I mean, when we were slow, we were busy. I mean,
Right.
we were never been slow, but now it's like more.
Let me interrupt for
competition.
1 second. I looked it up on Wikipedia. Anaheim's name is a blend of Anna, after the nearby Santa Ana River. I had it wrong. And Heim, you're correct. A common German word for home.
So
See,
river home.
I'm from
River
Europe, you see. I know a few language, and I do that.
Yeah. How dare I challenge the CNN hero?
Just sit quietly in
I
the
was
corner.
surprised. I was surprised, but that's okay. I forgive you.
Oh, you were forgiven.
I'm a knight.
but you were knight.
Nominus Patus Spiritus Sanctus. Right, I'm a good Catholic. I've been forgiven.
So you had that. That's awesome. I mean, I really am very excited about what's going on in that town, and I think a lot of towns actually could learn from it because they've also, Anaheim was always regarded as just being, Disney.
Right.
And they've kind of broken away from that mold in a way, all the way to City Hall, Mayor Tate. There's a bunch of people that are City Council. It's a diverse community. That's all really adding to the flavor, I think, of Anaheim, and it's time. I mean, you got the little Arabia area on one side. You've got a very strong Latino community in Anaheim, and it's nice to see that blend.
But the blend is amazing.
Yeah.
Anaheim offer more they can imagine. Remember, we have the stadium where Anaheim Angels, Los Angeles, what you want to call them, play.
Don't get into that one mess
I know,
here, right?
but I love them all. I love our team, hockey, the Ducks. You have the convention center, which is the number 7 in the country. You have a Disney. You have a 75, 85 hotel, I think. I mean, we have more than anybody else in Orange County. I mean, Anaheim is the place to be this day of age. I mean, honestly, I can't. When people say, "Oh, you're from Anaheim," like, wait a second here. We have everything here. I mean, you don't need to go anywhere. This is the reason they're building so many apartments and condo. I mean, I remember 30 years ago when I came, Anaheim Boulevard was not the cute.
Best place.
No, I was the only cute one in there, I guess.
You're still the only cute one in there.
Well, I'm still the most beautiful now. But no, that street now, they have some condo 2 blocks away from me.
Yeah.
Stunning. I feel like I'm in Boston when I
Yeah.
drive there because
Yeah.
it's just beautiful. Big next to the parking house.
It's funny. Anaheim and Santa Ana have a bad reputation, and it's funny because that doesn't fit anymore. Even a lot of these areas, especially now with the ability to remote work, for people wanting to have sort of that walkability, to have things around them. So it's taking on a little bit more, like you're saying, those urban centers like Boston, like.
Yeah, and also it's a city of kindness, as you know. Our Mayor
Mayor Tate,
which started the kindness city, and obviously I'm one of his kindest guy, obviously. But I love the city of Anaheim.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's really,
So let's speed up and talk about the kind work you did. You were at the White House for a long time, and then tell us the story of how the charity and the work you did evolved out of that.
Okay, April 18, 2005, my mom came to visit me like she usually do in the winter time.
The famous Katarina.
Katerina is her name, but I don't call her Katerina, I call her Mama.
And
we went to the Boys Girls Club of Anaheim that day, and there was a 7, 8 years old kid eating potato chips. And the director, then Mike Baker, said, Bruno, could be his own dinner to the kid. I said, why? I said, because we have a lot of motel kids coming to the Boys Girls Club.
Motel kids. I'd never heard the term till you brought this to our attention.
And kids who live on Section 8 also, which is low-income people. I mean, if you live in a motel, first of all, there's no kitchen. If a mom wants to cook for you, she cannot even cook for you.
Yeah.
And if you've never been to a motel room, usually as a room, we can sleep 2 people. But you find 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people in a motel room live there. And
one step away from the street, or maybe one, or they get off the street temporarily here, and they're in a
also
motel.
a lot of the motel hosting prostitution, drug addict, drug dealer, pedophile, sexual abuser.
Mom's a prostitute, right? She stays at the hotel.
Those kids are, if you live in that environment, it can be one of the bad parents, but not everybody's the bad parents. I met some amazing, great people live in a motel room. It's just there because of economy problem, lost their job, lost their home. It's not their fault.
Challenged.
But that is the situation of a motel.
So the Boys and Girls Club alert you that there are kids living in these motels, some of which are rather low income, seedy motels, poor hotels, all these hotels that are popular.
But remember, those motels, they were the top hotel in Anaheim when 1950s, what was it?
Yeah, right when Disneyland started,
when
right.
Disneyland opened, I mean, they
They're
were
old, right.
nice and everything. Now they turn out old, and the people live on a minimum wage who can't afford a condo in the area. That's where they live. I mean, express that to mom and translate it from Italian to from English to Italian to her. I say, blah, blah, blah. And mom said, wow, if the kid is not sure to have a hot meal tonight, why don't you feed him a plate of pasta? And that was the click in the change of my life. I feel like
that one moment, because pasta is pretty simple and pretty inexpensive to make, and you make it in big batches, so we gotta give them a little pasta.
Well, I grew up very poor, eating pasta every single day because that's the only food that my mom was able to afford. I wear clothes from people across the street to give to my mom because she has 7 kids.
Wow.
And just to make a point of the 7 kids, I was the cutest one of the 7.
Well, clearly.
Just making sure that.
Although some of your siblings might contest that, but
they all do. But I'm a CNN hero. I'm gonna knight.
You're a knight. You
they
can
have
tell
to
them,
be a little silent sometimes.
That's right.
But anyway, I'm just I mean, I come up very poor, and mom and dad, the only food they could afford was that. At nighttime, I eat milk and leftover bread. I mean, that's what I grew up. I mean, automatically, when my mom saw a kid starving, she said, Bruno, let's feed him some pasta. And all-star that day was the first pasta. And went to Capo Henry in 2 months' time.
No, but how did you get it to them? They come to the restaurant and come to the back of the building?
No, there's a different way than I do. First of all, I went to my restaurant, cooked the pasta. I've been doing that every single day for almost 13 years.
Right.
I cook a pasta at the restaurant, deliver it to the Boys Girls Club, and the kids eating by 3:30, 4 o'clock, because when they leave at 5 o'clock at night, at least they have a hot meal in their belly. And that's what I want. I want to make sure that those kids will eat my pasta. If tonight, for certain situation, they find themselves and they don't have a hot meal, they already have one in my pasta. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, this is the principle of Katerina's project, feeding the kids in America, cooking the pasta in my restaurant and deliver it to the boys.
But from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't anticipate. You bit off a little bit more than you could chew. You thought, I want to make a pot of pasta, maybe a couple of pots of pasta here, feed a couple of hungry kids, maybe 50, 100, you know. It grew from there.
Fast.
Yeah, I think people think I'm crazy, but I'm not. You know, people think I do miracle. And I say, no, the only guy that knows making miracle, he live above me, and it's God. I don't know anybody else that do. I did not do a miracle. Yes, I mean, today, we are at 3,500 kids a day.
Wow.
I mean, for the first kid that we used to do, it went to 50 to 200. Now it's 3,500 kids every single day, 5 days a week, that we've been doing for years. As a matter of fact, in January, I might be able to serve meal number 2 million.
2 million plates of pasta.
Million now that we already serve.
Where are the meals being served, Bruno? Is it still Boys and Girls Club?
Different places. You know, the first one was the Boys Girls Club of Anaheim, which I'm very close to them because it's my home, obviously. But now we are in 62 locations in 20 cities in Orange County alone.
Wow.
I mean, expanded all over Orange County in different locations. We have a school, we have church, we have Boys Girls Club, we have a low-income area. But I feed in kids.
That's fantastic.
It's just children.
Now, I'm assuming, though, that in the beginning, that was just you. I mean, I'm hoping now that you get support and people donate supplies and help you pay for. I'm assuming you can't feed that many kids. But in the beginning, Bruno's going to buy some pasta out of the restaurant account here and feeding it to people for free. That started to get a little heavy. It must start to, like, can I keep doing this? Because kids keep showing up.
I agree. I did on my own packet for the first 6-7 years, I think it was. And I did not count how much I was spending because money is not part of my life. Kindness is part of my life. That's what I was doing. But when the economy crashed, as we all know, 2008, 2009, I realized that the expense of that project was so high. And I was debating by my GM and my executive chef to stop to do that program. I was debating if we should go stop it because it cost me a fortune.
And every time you feed one kid, 2 more show up the next day because they tell somebody.
That time, I'll be honest with you, I think it was triple because from 200 cases, the director came to me and said, Bruno, we have a problem. And I said, well, do we have a broccoli problem? Because 4 or 5 months before that, I served pasta with broccoli, and no kids eat it.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's why I have to find the trick, blend the broccoli now in the tomato sauce to make sure to hide it. But no, Bruno, it's not the broccoli this time. It's like the kids is increasing every day. We don't have enough pasta. So, my Lord. So I was really considered to stop. But when he said that, the next day I went to the kitchen. I say, let's double and triple the pasta because we need it. And obviously my GM and my general manager, which is also my nephew, and my executive chef, Eddie, want to cut my head off because they said we can't afford it.
Yeah, right.
But I refinanced
money,
the restaurant.
time, everything. I mean, what are we in the business for, Bruno? Are we here to feed the public? We got to keep the business going.
Well, I had a lot of customers, but they were not paid. They were the kids. And that's my favorite customer anyway. That was the reason. I mean, I refinanced my home.
You refinanced your home?
I refinanced the restaurant. And,
you refinanced your home to keep feeding homeless kids. That's putting your money where your mouth is.
Well, that's the way that my parents teach me. The money was not, we didn't have any money. We never had any money, but they had 7 kids, plus mom and dad. There's 9 people in my own household for lifetime, and with no money, and pasta and milk and leftover bread, and mama making homemade pasta maybe on Sunday, gnocchis, because I love her gnocchi. We grew up with no money, but I'm 5'11", my brother 5'12". I mean, we are not small kids. We then died of starvation. I mean, I figure out, even if I don't have enough money, just feeding kids, it'd be a big deal for lifetime to those kids. And especially in my backyard right here in Orange County, to see that, I thought was ridiculous. But few things happened. I think God make few phone calls. He called CNN first. And he told them this young boy in Anaheim was feeding kids on his own packet. We need to help him.
Yeah, right.
And CNN, when God called, I guess say yes. And after that, God called again Kitty Curry.
And who was it? Some customer of yours or something? Who decided?
No, the CNN was Frank Groft, is my publicist today. And, he made a phone call, which I own him for lifetime because he really called CNN. He say, you have this program, CNN Hero. And,
needs a little exposure. It's going to keep it going, yeah.
And from CNN went to Kitty Curry, also thanks to Frank and People Magazine. And that is when people start to donate money because my own customer had no clue what I was doing. A few of them got mad at me. Why didn't you tell me you do that? I couldn't help you.
No,
I said, well, I was not bragging. I was doing feeding kids.
Not begging, not bragging. You're just doing what
I did for 6 years.
Yeah, right.
But that with the exposure of the media, which always say thank you, and say forget about the fake news. Look at the good news, which is the real one.
Yeah.
The media start to give me big help or to get donation, and this is when I start to open my 501(c)(3) because people donated more if you have a tax deduction.
Sure, of course. Sure.
And that was a big help. And that's the reason from 500-600 kids then it jumped to 3,500
And let's plug it. What's the name of the charity and how do people find it? Yeah.
Caterina's Club.
You got to spell that for us non-Italiano.
CATERINAS Club.org. Caterina. But if you go to if you can't remember, go to the White House website. You will see Caterina somewhere.
Is it whitehouse.gov? Oh, that's the other White House.
No, that's the one.
That's the other one. I'm sorry.
Don't know how
you're not going to find Caterina.
You have the good one, and that's the White House.
The Western White House and the Eastern White House. Yeah. All right. So, and now is this a full-time passion for you? Is this a full-time thing?
They don't stop with They don't stop with feeding the kids. I start new projects. I have 3 projects on Caterina's Club that are extremely important. Okay, now feeding the kids, you know what I do, 3,500 cases, 62 locations, 20 cities in Orange County. We also teach to do the same program outside of Orange County. We teach the program to be in Long Beach. We help in LA. Our program was expanded through personal friends and other people on their own budget in Texas, Chicago, New York,
Mexico,
Italy, and Africa.
Africa? People are making pasta in Africa here?
In Ethiopia, believe it or not.
In Ethiopia,
yeah,
okay.
It will start.
Do they know what pasta is in Ethiopia? Have they ever seen? Well, it was an Italian colony. What am I saying? Yeah, right.
Thank you. In fact,
Yeah.
Mussolini went there. I don't think he did the right things to go there. But he went there, and believe me, everybody knows pasta on the world. And if they don't eat pasta, they eat rice.
Right.
Because my teaching on a certain country, or people ask me, I say, you can do rice or you can do couscous.
Yeah.
You can please every country around the world. It doesn't have to be pasta himself. But remember, our pasta, the things that push pasta, people ask me, is it very healthy? I say extremely healthy. First of all, because it's carb. I put meat, chicken 2 times a week, bolognese 2 times a week, which give me the protein. And we have the tomato, which is the fiber, which are the vegetable. That means, as a nutrition fact, pasta is one of the best plates you can have it if you put the right ingredient together.
Correct.
And I don't give them 2 pounds of the kids. I just give enough, and it's consistent. And pasta as a food is also very good for the planet, for the fact that then it does not consume much of the planet. Between
not like
meat,
raising beef that they got to chew
Right.
tons. It takes 10 times the energy to make one.
In fact, it's on my book, Power of Pasta, I talk about that too, which is great. I mean, we did that, but I started a new program on Caterina's Club, which is called the Welcome Home. It started 7-8 years ago, I think. I realized that some of the kids were unhappy when they come to the club. And one time I saw a couple of kids, and they were really unhappy all the time. And I asked the director of the Boys Girls Club, I said, those 2-3 kids over there, they look like always without
Always
smile,
sad. Always
sad.
Right.
He said, well, Bruno, they are also motel kids. And I said, like, oh, okay, but there's a reason all these kids are in the motel. He said, well, besides what I mentioned before, prostitution,
Right.
Drugs,
besides that, he said,
prostitution, everything, yeah.
those good families, then they live in the motel room, sometimes because they lost everything, they cannot afford to move out because they needed to pay the first and last month deposit.
Sure.
You see, those 3 kids, the 2 kids that you're talking about, they live in the motel. He said, you know, for how long? I said, how long? I was thinking 2-3 months. He said, for 12 years.
Wow.
I was like, what?
That's their house.
12
room.
years? He said, yes. In fact, the 2 of the brother and sister were born in a motel room. That means they don't even know what it means to live in a regular place.
Wow.
That means 6 people in a motel room. And the little girl, you know what she does her homework? I said, where? Sit on the toilet, because that's the only quiet place. Then she can do homework.
And a little table kind of she can work on, yeah.
I mean, just
The
think
toilet
about
acts as a table, yeah.
I mean, it's pretty sad.
In affluent Orange County.
Affluent Orange County, right.
That's
right.
A stone's throw
Under
away from
our
Disneyland.
Yes, stone
I
throw
mean-
from the happiest place on earth, yeah, right.
I'm not sure if people remember when I closed my speech on CNN, it was, it's time to stop to talk about it, but to do something about it.
Yeah.
And that is my quote. And I decided to see if I can do something about it with those motel family. And I start to investigate it, and I realized there's some amazing, great American family who live in this motel room. The only problem is the deposit. I mean, I start to qualify them if they have kids, because I do for the children, number one. I will pay first and last month. They have to have a 6-month job also, because honestly, they have to pay the rent.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I mean, and most of them does, because motel are not free. They're not
So
cheap
the only
either.
thing that keeps them from moving up as they start to get some work is they can't save enough money to pay the first and last deposit on a
This
little
day of
apartment.
age, an average family is 4,000, 5,000 to move out.
Yeah.
Those family, no way they can save that kind of a money. It's
Right.
not easy for people as a decent salary to
Right.
save 5,000. Imagine
Right.
them. I mean, that's why I moved that first family to live for 12 years. I moved them to an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, which was full of joy to have done that as the first family, but we did not stop that. Now we do 2 family a month, and I already moved 142 family from a motel room
That's amazing,
to
Bruno.
apartment. And if you go outside, you start to count 142 apartment, which is almost 1,000 people.
Yeah.
It's almost a full village.
Wow.
And that is the best.
People say
very
it takes a
different.
village. You created a
So,
village. yeah.
so where you're moving them to apartments?
Yeah.
Are these? Do you have partnerships with some of these developers? How do you?
I work with all
That's a good
the
question, yeah.
non-profit organization to move them out. I work very close to Illumination Foundation,
Sure.
as I love them, and they qualify the people for me. They are more qualified to qualify the people than me. And when they have a family, say, Bruno, we have a family. We tell the family to look the area where they want to, because if you have kids, you want to be next to the school, you don't have a car. We do that. We have organization that we make them in contact with. We work close to everybody too.
So the family is actually also having a say of where they want to be.
Yeah, because I don't select where they want to be.
That's
Because I
wonderful.
cannot move you in Anaheim if you kids go to school in Santa Ana.
Sure.
I mean, you needed to find an area close to you.
And what's this
available
other
for you.
foundation called? You said Assure. I never heard of it before.
Illumination Foundation
Foundation.
work a lot with motel family and the privileged family.
Yeah.
I work very close to them with qualify the people who look for home.
Yeah, it's a great organization.
It's a
That's
great
an
organization in Orange County. Paul Leon is the executive director.
Right.
Well, we
very
should
good
have
friend
them
of
in
mine.
here sometime. They can talk about that
I'm
work.
sure
that
you
they
will,
do.
because he's a good man. I love them. I work with different organizations all the time, because when you meet, when you talk, we all in the same field,
Right.
helping others.
Right.
And I'm not the best, I'm not the worst.
Right.
We do the best as possible to make kids in the best as possible.
So and how long have you been doing this?
7 years to the moving family, and last year I started project number 3, which is the Bruno Hospitality, because I realized the kids after teenager age, they cannot go to Boys Girls Club.
Right.
And instead to be home on a parking lot, I say, what? Because we have, like I mentioned earlier, Anaheim is a boom city of everything. Why don't we teach them to be in hospitality, and they can apply job as a restaurant, as a hostess, as dishwasher,
Yep.
as a chef. With all those hotels and restaurants in Anaheim, I'm sure they can. And matter of fact, we start to do that. We take 60 to 75 kids. We do 12 weeks program, teach them to give them at least confidence to walk to a hotel room, to walk to a hotel restaurant, to apply for a job, because they are all shy, insecure, not comfortable. But being with us for 12 weeks, they get a little bit of attitude at the end of the 12 week, which is cool. But they know what mean work in a business. I mean, they don't feel embarrassed or unknown to any kind of hospitality.
We should match him up with just do a plug, because it was a different show. Who's the other guy that was the executive chef at the Peninsula Hotel, the famous one up in Beverly Hills? Left that position and opened up his own charity. And doesn't he do some of that work where they're trying to train some of these kids to get them off the street?
Bill Bracken does. I think there's a couple of people that do. I mean, you know, we're involved in the hospitality. I mean, who do you have who are? I mean, obviously, you're not carrying this thing on your own.
Hopefully not at this
right?
point.
No, that
Yeah.
right now, like
So-
I mentioned earlier, thanks to the 501c,
Yeah.
we get a lot of donation. I just finished the big one with another radio. I'm sure then
KFI.
you know that is K564 AM.
We
which,
don't mention other radios.
we don't mention them, but they are very good
my
like
show.
yours. They're very good like yours. I'll be honest with you, like you inviting me, I'm thanking you to be here because.
Oh, Bruno, you got to go now. No.
Goodbye, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, goodbye, Charles.
No.
I know, but I mean,
They're
there's
good people.
I'm
that
siding with the Italians, not the Irish.
Okay.
is the
We'll let it slide today, only because you're a knight and only because you're a hero. We'll let that slide.
Thank you.
today.
You must because.
Did
I
you bring
really
your
want-
sword? Can I use it, please?
I might use it at the end of the show. I know, like with that grant, and people sometimes, hey Bruno, I would like to give you $5,000 to move a family.
Yeah.
Hey Bruno, I'd like to give $2,000 to do this. I mean, people sometimes they say what they want, but when you know me, you know that all the money go to the 3 project. And
Yeah.
remember, you feed in the kids, you give them home, you give them the job. Doesn't matter where the money goes.
But you know what? I think, Bruno, the other thing is you're giving them purpose. I mean, you're touching them
Yeah.
when they're children. So that's you know, feeding them feeding their stomach, but you're also putting them in an environment, putting them in an environment that is safer, that has the ability for a little bit of normalcy, as much as you are able to, right? And then to provide them sort of with a potential apprenticeship or sort of a career path. Okay, I mean that's phenomenal.
That's Terena's Club is all about it. I tell people, I mean,
life changing.
It's a life change because the 3 programs they are married together very well.
What did your mother think? I'm sorry to ask. I don't know if your mother's still with us or not.
Well,
but
she's still with me, but she's talked to me from heaven. She's
okay.
never left.
But so, what did she live to see all this, or any of this come to pass here?
It's funny you asking the question because the first year in 2005, a TV station came. When I started the first kid, a couple TV station came and they filmed me, they filmed Mom, they filmed the Boys Girls Club was the first pastor. At nighttime, I turned the TV on and I said, Mom, now let's be quiet. I want to show you something on TV. It's coming at 5 o'clock news. And she see herself on TV. There were some little kid give her flower. And she looked at me and said, those people crazy to put me on TV?
Mom, you're a movie star.
And she was on newspaper and magazine photo. Every time I showed to her, she told me we were nuts.
Yeah.
She said, why they do that? Why they do that? I said, well, because you inspire me to feed in the kids. So there's no more things. You don't need to put them on TV. You don't need to put. She was no. I mean, she smiled because she's the one of the most loved lady I met in my entire life. She was the number one lady in my life.
She just couldn't understand, well, what's the big deal? Yeah,
she was, that was a big deal. But
how wonderful that she got to see that.
I know the beginning, obviously. At the hand, she could not, but at the beginning, I'm sure from heaven she knows what I do. That's the most important things. But come back to the work from home is one thing I want to share.
Yeah.
I'm getting text messages sometimes because I don't meet to the family. I don't want the family to see me and to feel like they're in debt with me.
Right.
There's one thing I can't have that happen. But I met few family because of reason, right? But I get some phone calls sometimes or some message. Hey, Bruno, I just want to let you know what happened to my kid. Before I move out to your work from home project, I live in the motel room. My kid was the worst of school. He just came home today with the student of the month.
Student of the month for a motel kid.
Because as a kid, then honestly, the environment that they are is very bad. Emotionally, mentally, physically is horrible to those kids.
Yeah.
The change of the environment, and not just to motel kids, any bad environment for a kid is negative. Good environment of a kid is positive. Obviously, that's what happened.
And they can sprout and grow then.
And another lady, which was a mom of 3 children, then I think they were in Eaton Beach, if I'm not wrong, then I moved them to an apartment too. She texted me and said, dear Bruno, I never take for granted what you done to us to move us to an apartment. Because recently I'm going to breast cancer chemotherapy.
Oh my God.
But instead to come back to a place called a motel room, I come back to a place called home, and I feel so much better.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That make me cry like a little kid because it's like, yes, we don't think about that. But when you have a flu, you don't feel good, you have a blanket, you're on your sofa, you watch TV at home, you're
in
better.
home. Yeah,
if you're in a motel room and you hear screaming.
I got Deborah tearing up over
So how can people, since we have them, again, I want to give up the website. It's Caterina's Club, and it's Caterina with an E.
Caterina, C-A-T-E. It's not K. A lot of people think Caterina is a C-A-T-E-R-I-N-A. S Club.
Okay.
But go to the White House if you think it's easy to remember.
The Anaheim White House.
At the White House, you can click on Caterina from that.
And how can people help, Bruno?
That if you go to that page, you will see donation. And that's the number one thing that I ask it all the time. If you do donation, it's fantastic because I can use the money for all those programs that we use.
How about corporations or other things? Are they good at donating stuff
we
and
always
getting
ask.
involved?
I mean, I have a lot of people on me, and I'm not begging, but I talk about it. And I say, you know, if you like to help my organization, this is it. Some people send some. I have people send me $5. Then give me tears on my eyes. I don't.
That $5 means something to them when they send $5.
Yeah, people sometimes apologize. Say, Bruno, I'm so sorry. I only can give you $5. I'm an old lady from Wisconsin. I saw you on Kitty Cook. I say, you know what? $5. I can feed probably 20 kids. I mean, that's what I'm telling you. There's a matter because it takes zero money to be a decent human being.
It takes zero money to be a decent human being. Boy, there's the quote takeaway right there.
Something we forget.
Takes zero money to be a decent human being. That never heard it said better.
Do you have people that call to volunteer or to help?
We have a volunteer occasionally because we have so many facilities. Like if people want to volunteer, we send them to facility to serve the pasta. I use lot of volunteer, like when I have the big fundraiser, the gala.
Yeah.
We have a couple of galas coming up at the Marconi Museum right here in Orange County. My annual gala is in
another good Italiano here.
I love the Marconi. I love the facility. And we have a fight night in March this year, which some of the proceeds we go to Caterina's.
They do a lot of that fight night over there. And it's a cool place. We've never been there. It's a car museum. And
I love the place. It's one of my favorite places to do event in Orange County beside the Nixon
right in
Library,
Tustin there, yeah.
and also the Casa Romantica, and Christ Cathedral, obviously,
Yeah.
which is today is my home.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about the Hospitality Academy.
Hospitality Academy, it's a 12 weeks program, like I mentioned. And I usually do that for my own restaurant. If nobody knows what happened,
But that's
Yeah,
why I was
yeah,
asking
I was
because
gonna-
you have.
I was afraid to bring that up. I didn't want you to throw something at me here.
And
but-
how long ago was that you had the issue with the restaurant?
the restaurant get a
Fire.
phone call February 4th this year, 4:30 in the morning that my restaurant was on fire.
Yikes.
Thought there was a joke, but it turned out that it was not a joke. And I was in Anaheim in 30 minutes, and by 5 o'clock, I saw my life of 30 years, love of 30 years, passion of 30 years go in flame. I was devastated. I cried a lot. I was uncontrollable. I could not even talk to people because I saw.
And where's the justice? All this good work you're doing, and something like that happens. Does it make you quite? I'm a good Irish Catholic. It might make me question a few things here.
Because God gave His best soldier the worst battle.
Best soldier, the worst battle. Boy, you got all the answers today.
And
Here.
I think that was the
I'm gonna
reason.
start crying now. Here.
No, you don't have to because honestly, I don't have any napkins.
I got a few over here. We're all right.
But that's when I saw that was devastating. But after a few hours, I was on fire, basically, the restaurant. Some friends called me, say, Bruno, you need a kitchen. And that was the magic word for me at that moment because how am I going to cook the pasta for the
Sure.
kids?
Yeah.
Then I use Highway 39, which is another facility which I use a lot in Anaheim for the first week. But because the kitchen was small, I decided to move to another facility which they call me and say, Bruno, you have a facility for free till when you reopen. That's the Christ Cathedral in Orange, in Garden Grove in Orange County.
Which one? The Christ
The Christ
Cathedral?
used to be the
Crystal.
Crystal Cathedral.
Oh yes,
from
right.
Schuller,
The new
Robert Schuller.
for where the archdiocese is building the new.
Yes, Bishop
Orange
and
County.
So they called you and said you have the kitchen. And
you have the key of the kitchen, and that was a gift of God. Talk
Yeah.
about when you get
Exactly.
gifted, because when I go there all the time. I
I'm
feel
going
like
to
I'm
give
home.
an extra $1 to the church this
And
week.
matter of
I'm
fact,
glad they did that.
I
yeah.
think you should. It is very nice of you. I think
He's going to hold you to that, Bill.
I
I'm
will.
not-
Well, you know,
sure.
because sometimes I wonder if the archdiocese and they have all this money and power, what they do with it. And
I'm sure they have to their own struggle. Because remember, in the Catholic Church, the number one priority is helping the poor.
Yeah.
yes,
As a matter
absolutely.
of fact, when Pope Francis was elected Pope, he came out to the balcony and said, "Pray for me, but let's don't forget the poor."
Yes. What a wonderful gesture that
And-
was. And then he went down and washed the feet of the prisoners and did other things. He's really made that a priority for
Yes.
the church again.
As a matter of
Focus
fact, he
their
sent
attention.
me. He did send me a cross, bless, because I asked him. I told him, Pope Francis, I need your help. I said, can we tell every religion leader around the world to collect pasta on their church service? And if we do that, we will have no hungry children
Wow.
around the world.
Yep.
Now, how'd you get it? Would you just call him up on the phone one day? You probably got his
When
number
you
on
have
speed dial here.
CNN hero, you can do a lot. you know.
Yeah. I can't get Francis on the phone here.
And he sent me a letter back. He decided he blessed the rosary and the cross he sent me, and he said he's blessing every single person who has helped me with the pasta. I mean, today, because you interviewed me, you helped me to my project, and you've been blessed indirectly through me from Pope Francis. Anyone
Wow. I'm
who
feeling
has,
better already here.
Yeah, he wrote that.
He had an ego before. I cannot get him
Yeah.
through the door now.
I got a little back end from Pope Francis here.
And if you
Okay.
read my book, which is just came out this week, A Power of Pasta,
Let's put the
you
book
will
up.
see
Let's
on
plug
it.
the
It's
book
right
here.
here.
yeah,
The power of is there
Wait a
power in
minute.
pasta? Certainly has been in your life. The
For
simplest
those who are watching, there's the book that Bruno's talking
the simplest dish that your mother was able to make to keep you guys alive and fed. Pasta's probably like with soup, chicken soup in some cultures, or pasta or rice in other cultures.
What made you read the book?
Okay, well, talk about finish the discussion hospitality.
Yeah.
I decided to use the hospitality, Bruno hospitality to do the Christ Cathedral till when I reopen. Obviously, that's where we moved to Christ
Sure.
Cathedral. Yeah, thanks the Christ Cathedral for that. And the project is 12 weeks. We start in January. After 12 weeks, it's done for the year, which is an amazing program. The book I wrote the book. I wrote a mini book. I mean, I did the mini books in 2011 when I was CNN hero, but I didn't publish it nationwide. I just did for friends and customers. That's it. But so much has happened, and I say, a lot of people don't know what we do, how they can help children around the world. So maybe the best way is to write a book and maybe inspiring people to follow Katerina's project. I don't say follow my step because it won't be the correct thing to do because a lot of people does good stuff.
But
out
it
there.
takes no money to be to do a good deed.
I'm a very good teacher because you learn very fast.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'm going to remember that one. It really takes no money to go to do good. Yeah.
Exactly true. I mean, I started to write where my mom come from. I'm from a shepherd family, proud of it. My grandfather,
He was a shepherd. Is that what you
he
said?
was a shepherd. I mean, during World War II, people in the village would just ask Giovanni, can I get a little bit of milk, a little bit of cheese? And mom tell me the story, and that's where the DNA come from. Grandfather, grandmother, and mom. And mom the same thing too. When I was in France, because they went there pick up potatoes and beets, there used to be people from Morocco knocking the door try to sell rag.
Right.
Obviously, mom would never buy rag because she didn't even have one penny, right? But what she would tell them, for us, was, Mom, we invite strangers. She would bring them to the house with dad, and sit them on the table, give them a plate of pasta. That was my mom. That's why I grew up that way. Then, if I had friends in the house, 7 brothers and sisters, I mean, imagine so many kids. She sandwich, a plate of pasta.
That's
was
so
always
Italian, though. Every Italian family ever knew it. Like,
There's always
mangia,
a
isn't
seat
it?
at the table.
Mangia, yeah.
Mangia. But for foreign people, as kids, imagine, it was kind of a little frightening sometimes, but that's what we grew up with. I mean, I wrote the story about family, how mom and dad met, where I come from, where I started hospitality myself, to when I come to America, but also write about Katerina's project, where it started, how to start your own charity, because a lot of people say, how do you start, how do you do that? I mean, I don't give the full detail, but I give some impact in the book to understand
What's
how
involved.
can you open your own 501c3.
I can't. You can't open your own 501c3. Come on, you got to be.
You can, and the funny thing is, when it comes to nonprofits, there's a lot of people that are very well intentioned, and they want to do something, but they also go into it not knowing what it really is entailed, and so they get discouraged when they start facing some of these difficulties.
Yeah.
So if somebody tells them that from the beginning, at least they go in with their eyes open.
And you know why I wrote
Not
that?
easy.
Because it was a nightmare for me when I decided to
I
collect
bet.
it.
I agree.
The first 6 years, when I did in my own packet, I was the happiest guy on earth because I was doing my own money. I didn't care about anything.
No paperwork, no
No paper-
reports, nothing.
When I
right,
started to collect money, yes, the income double, triple, I'll be honest.
But you got to count for it.
But it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And
Reporting, the right paperwork, the right
I
people
mean,
in place.
Banking.
you need a lawyer, you need a CPA,
Yeah,
you
right.
need a
Got to file reports
you
to
need
keep your.
auditing yourself to make sure you're on the right line. That's why I auditing Katerina's Club every year because I want to make sure on the right line because I'm a chef restaurateur.
Yeah.
And believe me, I learned so much the last 4 or 5 years because of it. But yeah, the donation came through. I mean, I wrote the book because of that. And the book was done on February the 3rd. February the 4th, tragedy.
Restaurant.
The
Restaurant.
book is done on the 3rd and the 4th. Your restaurant catches fire. Boy, you're just.
Believe me, the 3rd, I was the book was ready to go to print because my Selected Books is my publisher from New York. And he said, Bruno, we're going to get on print first week of February. I said, okay, thank you. Like everything was done. The book was done. On February the 5th, I had to call him and say, please tell me you didn't print the book. He said, no, so we're still detailing some of the things that they don't know yet. I said, well, I think I need to add a chapter.
Yeah.
He said, why? I said,
Little
my
epilogue.
restaurant was on fire last night. And he said, well, this is a must. I mean, I wrote the chapter, and the publisher said, Bruno, I don't want to wait a week to get to that chapter. You need to write immediately because I want you to get the
Everything that you-
emotional
In the moment.
in
right.
the moment. I wrote those last chapter crying and crying and crying. It was so emotional. Every line I was right on it from the moment I got the phone call, when I was on the phone call from my best friend in Europe, Jiri. And from the moment to when I called my family, when I got there, the hug from the fire chief of the fire department, Randy, for when I called my sister, my brother.
We've had Randy down here. In fact, Randy.
Yeah, the amazing guy. He's the first hug I received after the fire was from Randy, the fire chief.
He's the
from
fire
Anaheim.
chief. Yeah, he's a great guy.
He looked at me and say, I asked him, I said, Bruno, how is it? He looked at me and says, bad. And he gave me the most, you see, when I said before, it takes zero money to be a decent human being. Well, he gave me the best hug in that moment I could have received, because when he told me it was pretty bad, he knew what my feeling was. I mean, I put that on the book, and in fact, the last line of the book, I say, 30 years ago, I came to America, opened a restaurant to think about the future in this country. 30 years later, I'm standing up, think what will be my future.
Wow.
And I stopped the book at that. And what is the future? That nobody knows, but yes, I'm rebuilding the restaurant. It should be open in a couple months from now. I mean, follow me up on Facebook, social media. You will see.
I hope you will invite us and let us know so we can put the
Depends
word
how
out.
nice you are with the Catholic
Well,
Church. You just told me.
I'm going. I don't know about you.
If you keep bringing up KFI, I'm not sure I'm going to go, but...
No, I want a K5. They're going to be invited for sure.
Oh,
There he is.
Oh.
OC Talk Radio is not
If
sure.
I don't, Bill Andrew will kick my butt. just joking. You guys are be amazing. But the power of pasta book is also one thing I'm telling people, especially during this time. I don't make one penny on it. It cost me money. It cost me 2 years of work. Every single profit.
And a lot of blood, sweat, and tears we heard here, too.
A lot of tears, I agree. Thank you for mentioning it. I worked so much on the book, and I put a lot of my emotion, a lot of my personal things on it. And I also have some recipe at the hand. I didn't want to put the recipe myself. I didn't care about the recipe for the restaurant. I was not advertising the White House. I just wanted the Power of Pasta project, which is
So
all
if somebody
about.
wants to do this.
Yeah,
there's
but the
some-
publisher said, no, Bruno, recipe will help for the sales.
Sure.
And I put like 30, 40, something like that recipe, which people like it. But every single penny profit then supposed to go to me, go direct to Katerina's Club. It go to the children. The power of pasta, I didn't want, because the project, why don't you make money? Because I'd say, you don't have a job for a year, my restaurant is closed. I don't make any money because it's really, I don't know,
Right,
sales.
especially with the restaurant being closed. Yeah.
I say I cannot make money from the power of pasta because it's about the kids. I mean, if you buy my book, it's on Amazon.com. It's easy to Bruno Serato. You find
You
the Power of Pasta.
you can order it now.
You can order now,
You
yeah,
can
so-
get it in a Kindle already. I looked yesterday, but you can also order the hard copy.
Hard copy, which is beautiful because you have a
Yeah.
lot of pictures inside, which is
Yep.
great. And if you don't want to get Amazon, go to Barnes Noble. It's available that.
Yeah.
And the first week, the sales was very decent. I should say, very good. They told me, but I'm not bright
Well,
about
I actually downloaded the Kindle yesterday because I wanted to look at it, and I plan to order a couple and give them away because I think, especially for people that are in nonprofits, it's a very good book. It also is very much from the heart, and thank you for sharing the story about the last chapter. I was going to ask you, just in general, okay?
As we come to the last few minutes.
What
here.
is if you had to sum up your experience, life experience? People make plans and things happen, right? You have a restaurant that's successful, and then you are writing a book, and you're coming off, having this award and that award, and which shelf do I put it on? And then boom, there's a fire that happens when you don't expect it. You think it's a joke. It's not a joke. What is life, Bruno? How is life for you? Like, is it faith? What is it life for you?
And how do you keep going through all these things? 5 kids show up and you got to feed 50.
Paul was saying, oh my God, you're one thing after the other, right?
Yeah.
But
let me tell you, my life is very happy. I'm a very happy guy. You don't see me depressed, maybe disappointed about people sometime or things that happen, but I'm very happy.
have you always been like that?
Always. My mom told me that because before she died, I asked her 3-4 questions, and one was, once she told me, she said, I love all 7 the same, because mom loved all 7 the same, obviously. But I said, but you had something special because you always do something for your brother and sister. She told me I would just do a little gift on their birthday and no money. She said, you always did something. I will never forget that thing that she always mentioned to us. After that, I asked her 3 personal questions, but I'm not sure how many minutes we have left because
We'll give a couple
That's
more.
fine. We're good.
I asked
Are we
her.
doing? Is there another show after this? No.
Because
Okay.
I asked her mom the 3 major questions of my life to her. After that, I answered what you asked me. But I said, Mom, I said, what was the most beautiful moment of your life? She said, every time I gave a birth to one of my child. I mean, kids was number one priority. I said, Mom, what was the worst day of your life? Because, you want to hear that. Say, well, I know you fight with Dad a lot, and the answer, without hesitation, she said, when I lost my firstborn, then the third child, my brother, which I never met, died of bronchitis because the truck they were on went to the river. And she started to cry. I said, my mom, I say, oh my God, it's so many years. You still cry? And she said, when you lose a child, you never forget.
No, I can believe that.
And the last question, it was, Mom, are you afraid to die? And she said, yes. And that second devastated me when she said, yes, I'm afraid to die, because she believed in God. We believe in God. It's like, the son said, I'm not afraid to die because of dying. It's because I know that my children will suffer so much.
Oh,
There's no
wow.
reason.
Wow.
Those three questions.
Oh, my goodness. Deborah, we got
those-
to get you some tissues here.
Those three questions, and I did that on a church of the funeral. Obviously, I was the spoke for the family.
The eulogy, yeah.
But those three questions was children, children, and children. I'm one of her children. And the pattern I have on Earth is Mom did not die. She died 3 years ago, but her life, her legacy is still on. I'm one of the artery of her. Her heart still beating. I'm her own blood. And this is the part of my life. I represent my mom everywhere I go. Everything I do is her.
Everybody you touch is part
Yeah.
of her legacy.
And that's what I said. I mean, God put me on earth for that reason. And give her the gift of my mom to have 7 children. 8 with the one who passed away. But that's the part of my life. And I love to do good things to people. I love to help them. And do a scene. Everybody's seen. Nobody is not sinner. But I'm a good boy. I want to help others as much as I can. And that's what the path I have over here.
Don't we always want to be, as we talked about in the aging, when we normally talk about aging, don't we all grow up? I was an only child. I always wanted to please my father. Never could seem to get there, but, we always want to be a good boy. You're a grown man, and you still want to be a good boy.
I want to be a good boy for mom. Believe me,
Yeah.
mom passed away 3 years ago. Every single morning I wake up. Every single morning I look at her picture, then it's by my computer. Every single morning I sing the little song that I used to sing her every single day when I Skype her 15 years ago for the first time.
What's the song?
Tu sei la mamma più bella del mondo, la mia vecetta Caterina, la mia mamma Villanova, me pastora.
Which means what?
I mean, you are the most beautiful mom in the world, my shepherd, my little lady from Villanova, the place where she comes from, the small town. And you are my heart, you are my love.
I think we ended there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bruno, for being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for
Really
doing
a
what
pleasure.
you do.
And
Thanks
thank you for sharing.
And thanks for sharing what you do.
Yeah.
Because I think we all need to be a little inspired and a little believers. And
Bravo.
yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for joining us this week. We'll be back next week, I think, as the last show for the year, right?
Yes.
And if you need...
Is that our annual Christmas show where we're going to have a little cocktails and a little crackling fire, maybe?
Well, for sure. I mean, I think we have 2 shows to do that in. But, I really want to also, again, remind people, check out The Power of Pasta, please. Look it up on Amazon. It really is a beautiful gift to give somebody. I'm giving it away for Christmas myself to a couple of people.
And spell his
that I know.
last name just so we get it right. So Bruno, so do you say Serato? Ceruto?
Serato.
Serato.
S-E-R...
No, S-E-R-A-T-O.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Simple.
I'm leading you up. And also check out the Anaheim White House. The restaurant is almost there. It will be open in the next few months. Get involved with Bruno's charity if you're looking for donations. I actually was just having a conversation yesterday about what to do for people that pretty much have everything, and you want to give a gift or something.
Yeah.
Maybe give a donation in their name. This
a
is
lo-
really,
what a
really an amazing cause. Your mother, you were saying to me you just said a minute ago about the children, right? About the
sorry, I
children.
thought you were
No,
on the
sorry.
radio.
A minute ago, you were saying about the children,
Yeah.
Her
Right.
life was children,
Okay.
children, children.
and not in the case of your family, every child, right? That was her pleasure. That was the most joy that she had when she gave birth to every child, right? There was no child that was lost, and the saddest when she lost a child. And every day, through Katerina's Club, children are not lost. Children are
The mom of 7 children is today the mom of millions of
Exactly.
children.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
What a wonderful thought.
Thank you. Okay. See you guys.
You have been listening to the Rad Life Radio Show with your host and age explorer, Rad Gantos, brought to you on the one and only octalkradio.net. Join us again next week as we continue our journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Lori London. The United Nations